Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another Sims 4 video here. But as you can tell, this one is a little bit different. It is on removing unwanted CC or CC you're just tired of having. I've seen videos sort of on this with mainly relation to cast, but I still haven't seen it like a whole lot, so I thought maybe I would go over my way of doing it. So basically with objects, I basically just go out and I go on the biggest slot I can find that is empty. I usually go in another save file and just start placing all these random things, and then I go through and I start deleting the things that I want to keep. Now that's something that you gotta remember that sometimes I forget, and I start to almost go and delete things that I actually want to get rid of. But one of the reasons why I do set them all out and display them is so that you can sort of compare them and see them to like all your other CC. So sometimes you end up getting CC that is alike or looks similar. So by setting it all out like this, you can actually go and look and see. Also, you can easily go and look through the color swatches while it's out in the open. I do suggest putting it in, I think it's evening is what I put it in, because the lighting, if you go like right in the middle of the day, it's like so bright on some of the textures of some of the stuff that it just totally washes them out and you can't actually see what they look like. So definitely remember to change the time of day just so that you can actually see all the colors. But yeah, I'll set them out, I'll go through all the color swatches, see if I still like them. If there's like 2 color swatches that I really like and I really want to use, I'll consider keeping it. But otherwise, the point of this is to try to clear up your CC, so get bad CC or get unwanted CC. As you can see just there, I just had an item that has no footprint, and I'll mention it later on too, but when I have some of those items like that, what I do is I quickly hold over the item description and actually go and take a picture with my phone of the name, because since it has no footprint, it's not going to let you set it out. See, like I had that one as well. It's not going to let you set it out and place it so that this method that I'm using is going to work. So I'll take a picture of it with my phone so that I remember the name of the object, and I can easily go and hopefully search for it. Sometimes creators of CC don't name the file name the similar as the item description name, so sometimes it doesn't work, sadly, but it's worth a try, and that is like the best way that I have found so far. But yeah, it's just continuously going through. I usually start with in like the select item in the comfort stage. I did start with beds, but I normally try to remember to start with like the top item and then move my way down to eventually where it says all. Of course, you won't go on all because of the fact that you've already went through everything, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So this is sort of my method. A lot of things to consider when looking for CC. Why are you removing CC? Is it to clear up space? Is it to get new CC? Because that is what I do sometimes. Is it because a new pack is coming through? Is it because you haven't done it in a while? Things like that. So those are things to keep in mind when getting rid of CC. I recently hadn't actually gotten rid of a lot of CC in a while, but I'm someone who likes to hold on to CC usually. I have some CC that is like so old, but it still works and doesn't cause issues, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. As you can see here for the wall stuff, I do actually go on the far end of the lot and build a wall so that I can start sitting like any wall decorations, any wall shelves, anything like that, so that I can see all of them. Again, I just set everything out. I will eventually, there are certain genres of stuff that I don't set everything out, and I'll go through that a little bit later. But yeah, it's just the process of going through, seeing what you have, deleting what you want to keep, because you don't want those stuff that you want to keep still on the lot. And you'll see and understand that a little bit later, but yeah, you don't want anything that you want to keep on the lot at the end. So just keep that in mind. Delete anything that you want to keep. That's the thing that sometimes I forget. As you can see here, I'm about to go through the desk. So with the desk, one reason why I didn't record, of course, every single section of items, I try to remember to record stuff that I knew there was key points to or stuff that I thought I should talk about. With the desk, something I noticed with some CC, the spots that the chair automatically sits at is really, really strange, or it makes absolutely no sense. Now, there are some desks that maybe you like the way they look and you won't use them necessarily as a desk, so you won't ever put a chair at them. So that's something to keep in mind, but I set them out and then I bring a chair in and see where the chair snaps into place. If I don't like the placing of it, I'll consider actually getting rid of that item. That's something that I can get rid of because I'm probably not going to ever use it as a desk for sure, and if there's no other way that I can use it as something else, I probably will just get rid of it. Now, with the shower head, something that sometimes you also have to consider of, I was about to get rid of 2 showers, and then I was like, wait, let me go place it against a wall. So I went and placed it against this wall, and as you can tell, the glass actually disappears in the wall, and the fixtures itself actually look like they're mounted on the wall. So I actually really like that, and you can place walls all around it. So I did actually decide to keep the shower there. Now, back to something that when I was mentioning with the picture, so I had an item here that actually overlaid an existing item in the game. I don't typically like doing that, and I usually try to make sure not to get those because I don't want to deal with those and things like that. So I'll take a picture of it, but I also leave it on the lot. Why I do this is it usually isn't as big of a problem with objects as it is like cast mode, but a lot of times you can do this and it won't actually remove it for some reason. I don't know, because it's attached to that Sims 4 like actual EA file, but sometimes it won't remove itself. So I take a picture of it and you can go and find it in your game if it doesn't remove itself doing it this way, and I'll get back to all that towards the end of the video. As you can see, now I'm doing lights. Basically, for the most part, I did keep most of my lights, but one of the reasons that I do this, have your walls set too high so that you can see if it goes all the way up for your lights, because some CC creators, I don't know why, but they haven't set their lights to where they actually go all the way up to the top. I've found that most of them do, but a few of them don't. So I'm getting rid of the ones that don't automatically go up there, because you can sort of test them. If you rise them up, sometimes it creates a really weird shadow effect on the ground or in the middle of the air, because the light is the way it was made, it was thought that it would be so closer to the ground than that, and it isn't adjusting to the new height of the walls and ceiling. So that's the reason why I got rid of them, and so that's something to take hold of. Some other things that I consider when removing CC is like the textures, the way it looks, and things like that. How do I want... Now, I'm someone who clearly has alpha in my game. Now, when it comes to objects, I know there is an alpha versus a Maxis match, but I feel like the lines in between those two and objects is a little bit blurred. I mean, there's some stuff that I see that I'm pretty sure is like screams alpha, and some that does scream Maxis match, but there's some that sort of border that line and sort of look like they could be a part of both. Sometimes I do take texture into account. Now, the super duper, what I would consider like super overly alpha, like it looks like pretty realistic textures, a lot of times I won't use those because they just look really weird in the game, in my opinion. So a lot of times texture does determine what stuff I keep and what I get rid of. A lot of the wood textures also really is a thing. Like, I noticed that some wood textures come out really, really odd in this game, like on the CC anyway. So that's another thing that I look at. So, you know, just look at those like things. Also consider, how long have you had that CC? How long have you really been using it? Are you using it at all? Are you only using it in like rare certain occasions? Like, definitely consider stuff, because like you want to free up space, because let's face it, if you're someone who is like me, you're probably going to be getting a lot of CC as time goes on over the years. But also, you know that EA is coming out with more Sims 4 stuff and packs, so it's best to try to free up space when you can. Now, earlier I mentioned how there is certain sections that I don't actually go and lay out everything on the ground. That is like in the category. The decorations is the big main one. I have so many CC decorations, it's not even funny. And for the most part, I know what a lot of them look like. So what I usually do with those is I'll just go through and I'll click on stuff and bring it out into the world and see what it looks like, and then just cancel it if I want to keep it. If I don't want to keep it, I'll actually plop it down into the lot and leave it there so that it can be removed. But there's just so much to actually set it out and look at all of it together. It's like crazy impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but it's just crazy. And it would just take up a lot of time. It would take up, like, just, it would be overwhelming. Plus, the fact that way CC decorations is made, there are so many varying sizes of stuff that you could overcover things like that and stuff. So, just, it's a lot to go through, so I don't set it all out together and look at it as a whole. I just individually go through and look at them and place them. So that's how I do with the decorations, and as you can see, I'm doing the decorations here. Now, I'm a big clutter fan, so I do like keeping a lot of my decorations, but sometimes you just gotta remove it because it's just too much and it doesn't fit, and you're realizing like you're not using it at all in your game. Then there's no point of having it there to just possibly cause issues and slow things down, because of course some CC over time is possibly going to cause those issues, but not all of them do, but sometimes it will. So it's best to just go ahead and remove it. And chances are sometimes you might realize that you've moved something that's in one of your houses, but honestly it's not going to be that big of a deal if you're like me and have more CC to use. But also, oh well. But this is sort of my getting rid of, like, just things that I didn't want or I didn't think I'd use anymore or I hadn't used at all. But, you gotta consider, like, if you're ever going to possibly use it and how you would use it. Because some stuff, like, especially in the decorations, it's so varied and so all over the place that it can be used for multiple things. So just think of how you might use it all together and how it might be a part of your builds, and if you think that you might could use it, don't get rid of it and delete it and keep it off this lot, because basically what I'm going to show you at the end is going to show you that it's going to read what is on the lot and help you find and remove it. So again, I can't stress enough, do not put anything on this lot that you want to keep, because otherwise the method I'm going to show you is going to get rid of it, and then you might go back in your game and wonder why. Now, I have sometimes, of course, made the mistakes and removed things I didn't want to remove. I've done this really commonly in cast. Part of the reason why I've realized partially why I've done it, and I'll explain that a little bit later for you all, once it gets to the part where I actually show you how you're going to start removing it. Now, another thing to let you know, if you are going to realistically do this and you do have a lot of CC, set aside a time that you're going to do it. If you go to school or you have a job, I suggest doing it on a day that either, like, if you're in college, you only have, like, one class or so, or, if it's, like, high school, wait until the weekend. If you work, wait until you're off, because it can take quite a while. Especially the more CC you have, the more it's gonna take to actually go through all your object CC and actually look through it and figure out what you don't want and what you do want, and whether it goes together, like, with other stuff that you're wanting to keep. And it can take a really, really long time, so just be prepared for that and know that it's going to take a while. And you're gonna have to have time to actually sit down and do this. Granted, you can at least do this lot piece and then come back later on or on a different day and do the rest, as long as you don't go back and change the lot. But okay, so real quickly, I'm gonna sort of show you how my mods folder looks. This may be just a little side thing. This has nothing to do with actually removing it, but it may actually help you a little bit more. You go into your electronics folder, your Sims 4 folder that's inside there, and then your mods folder, which is where all your CC is going to be. Now, I know everyone probably has different ways of organization. Some people don't organize at all, but this is sort of how I organize. All of my, like, objects and cast stuff is done by date of download, but I do have certain things that have a separate folder all in their own, like certain careers or event type things, or the skins, or if they like modify the game like MCC does, those type of things. They have their own individual separate folder, but all the objects and like cast stuff are done by date of download. So that it's easier that if I have to come back and clean it up, or if I have an issue in the game and it's not working, I can remove all those folders and start slowly adding them back and narrow it down to what is possibly causing the issue. So I highly suggest having your folder organized to some degree. But now this part is going to be where you get rid of the bad CC. You need the Sims 4 tray importer. I'll try to have the link down below. I should be able to. So you're going to need that. You're going to make sure that it's up to date. I actually had to update mine for this video, but you know, you can check for updates, but if it's already updated or if it's not too far past, you should be fine to just go straight ahead. But it has all of your CC that you have, like all your creations that you've made, so your lots and your families, as long as they've been saved into your tray file or whatever, they're there. So your lot with the bad CC, which I'd highly suggest titling it bad CC or something like that, or unwanted CC, will be there. Click on it, and then as you can see towards the top, there's a place with like general files and CC. Click the CC link, and this shows you all of your CC that you have on that particular lot, or if you have a sim that you created, all the CC that sim's playing. Now if you double click on them, it will bring the file folder up in the file of the item. Make sure you look down at the bottom. Most of them will have a preview of what they look like down there. Make sure it's not something that you actually wanted to keep, but you can easily double click as it pops up and go and delete it. So this is like really, really easy to do. I sit here and I'm doing this for a while, so I do speed up most of it here in a moment. But there is some things that I forgot to show before I started doing this that I'm going to show later. But yeah, you just literally sit through here and double click and start deleting all of them. I do usually typically move my file that pops up over to the side, because sometimes you could have multiple CC in those files and it will pop back over on that side, and it's just easier to have them on that side so that you can still see the tray importer and then the files over on that side. So it takes a very, very long time. This is also another part of the reason, like both placing all the objects and going through the objects and figuring out what you want and don't want takes a while, but this also takes a while because you literally are just sitting here going through the whole entire thing. And I think I got rid of a total of like 300 some CC, so I was sitting here double clicking on like 300 and some items that day, trying to remove them all. Now when you have to scroll down in the tray importer to start seeing more files, make sure you remember to stop where your last item was, because otherwise you'll miss an item easily. And also you'll notice if you double click on an item that you've already deleted, it will bring up just your mods folder. It won't bring up the individual folder it was in, because it's no longer existing and no longer there. It's like, I know it was here, but I don't know where it's gone. That's basically what it's saying and what it's doing there. Now, something I don't show in this video, because the day that I was making this, I also had some other things that I was doing within the Sims, and I actually was needing to remove my CC completely. So I had moved all of my mods and stuff out and reloaded Sims without all that, and I was doing it right after this. So I don't show this part that I'm about to talk about that you need, that is best for you to do. But after you go through and you remove all of the CC and you do this whole process of removing things, go back into your bad CC lot, because I've noticed this sometimes happens. Either I'll skip it on accident and forget to actually double click and delete it from the sim importer in the files, and you know, you'll just miss a few pieces. So go back to that lot and see if there's anything still in that lot that you need. You can rename it and save it if you want as like a different name. It should pop up as a different item. I haven't done that because usually I just leave like 1 or 2 items and I just take a picture of the name and go find it myself individually instead of loading the tray importer back up. But yeah, that's something to definitely check to make sure. And also, I've had one item that I kept doing this with, and I kept seeing it every time I was doing this. I was like, I thought I'd got rid of this last time. Some of them, I don't know if it's just because they're duplicates or what, which the importer has been updated a lot since that happened with me. So, and I'll get into it, like, right now, actually. You're about to see, like, these two dots that are different colors here. So, with the dots on the side, as you can see, most of them are blue, which I'm pretty sure means installed. But there's dots down in the corner here that you could see me hovering over now that tells you what those different colored dots means. In this case, the orange is actually duplicates, which means that it's in multiple files in your mods folder, which sometimes happens if you accidentally download something twice, or if like you download a set and then some creators actually put the same object in two different sets. I've seen that before, and just because I guess to give people options, like if you like this set, have this set, if you like this set, have this set. But I'm someone who usually downloads both of them, so there's a lot of reasons why you can end up with duplicates. But that way, just remember that if it is a duplicate, that means that it's in multiple files and folders, so you'll want to double click it and keep making sure that it actually fully is removed and that it's no longer in any of the folders. So that's something to remember. The blue, which is the installed, like I was saying, is what you'll see the most. I see the orange and the gray the next most. I don't think I've actually ever seen any of the other colors, but of course there is like a little description if you hover over those little colored circles down there to let you know why that might have that circle. So as you can see, the gray circles are actually coming up on mine. That it says extras optional. What I've learned that usually means is that it's technically usually a subcategory of another piece of CC. So usually the CC that is right above it in the blue is like the subcategory of it. Remember, pay attention to the pictures, pay attention to maybe like the description when you bring it up in the file, because a lot of times if you delete those, it may cause another piece of CC to go a little crazy or not work properly because they're like connected to each other, or it's like recolors and things like that. A lot of that stuff can affect those things. So I do sometimes delete those if I feel comfortable with the fact that it's not going to bother something else, or if I know I'm like deleting the original, or if I'm deleting the whole set. But just keep that in mind, pay attention to it, and know that if you do delete it, there might be some issues that happens with other objects in your game if you're planning on keeping those. I think in this case I didn't delete them because the set they were attached to was a set that I really liked most of the objects in. I think it was originally the lamp that I was trying to get rid of, but so yeah, I didn't delete them because I didn't want to lose all that other stuff just because of the lamp. Now, as you can see here, what I'm doing here is I'm taking my phone, which is where I took the pictures of the stuff that didn't have footprints on it, or, you know, the stuff that I was afraid that maybe wouldn't come off using the tray importer, and you just basically type in keywords that are in the description of the item. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes they won't actually show up properly, which is really annoying because the way that the person has named it. But you just keep trying. Usually I can find most of it. I think this time around I actually did find the majority of it, but I did have a few more issues than usual. But you'll just type it in and then it will bring up all the options that work. Like in my case, one of the things that was this whole coastal set didn't really work. So I did delete most of the coastal set because I had pictures of almost all of it. So that's a thing that you can also look for. Is there like a set or like a lot of things that are named similar that's going to be in the same thing. But anyway, I hope that this helps you out with removing some unwanted CC or things that, you know, you're just trying to clear up your files. If you want me to do a cast version, just let me know down in the comments below. It is very similar to this, so just a few differences. Of course, you know, you won't be laying stuff out on the lot, but I can always do a cast version of this, and I hope this helps you out. I know this is a little bit long for a tutorial, but it is like a really long step process, sort of. So, yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. if there's ever anything else that you want me to try to make a video on in The Sims 4, let me also know that down in the comments below. All of my Sims 4 playlists will be down in the description below, as well as my social medias, so you can go follow me over on those. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!